Hello everyone, welcome to our video channel DoopTube. And today, since it's only a few days before Avengers Infinity War will be released, I'm gonna tell you which characters could appear in Avengers Infinity War and the 2019 sequel, which is now called Avengers 4. As I'm saying, it could, so it may not. So I'm not predicting anything. I'm not saying they all will appear. I'm just saying that these characters could appear in the movie. This video is split into 3 categories, and those categories are also split into little categories. Now before we get started, I want to give away a big spoiler alert, since I will be talking about potential spoilers, rumors that's all been around Avengers Infinity War. And also, if you're not up to date with the MCU, you definitely should be watching this video. So, if you don't want to know anything about the big things that happened in the MCU, or if you don't want to know anything about what may or may not happen in Avengers Infinity War or Avengers 4, stop watching right now because I don't want to ruin it for you. But for all here, let's get started. Starting off with our first category, the heroes. And then we're starting in the other first category, the Avengers. Starting off with the previous leader of the Avengers, Captain America, who has been in trouble and now has a new identity, Steve Rogers / Nomad. And why is he a new identity again? Oh yeah, that's right, because he's not a criminal. And as you can see, he also has a beard and a full new costume that makes him a bit less recognizable. Now then, let's get to the second leader. Tony Stark says Iron Man, and he is going to do some big things during this movie. However, at least we will see the Hulkbuster again. Only this time the Hulk will try him on, not Tony. But Tony Stark's suit is definitely gonna have an upgrade. Then we get to another obvious main Avenger who's definitely gonna appear in the movie, and may actually be one of the only May Avengers who make it out of it. Thor. Then of course we have Dr. Bruce Banner, who is predicted to be the Hulk for most of the time in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers 4. It is even been theorized that Thanos will be in control over the Hulk. So as the Hulk, he is unstoppable. However, he was wearing the Hulkbuster suit in the trailer. However, I am interested to see how his relationship with Black Widow will play out, now that there are rumors that Betty Rhodes may return. But more on that later. However, it seems like she has a new color of hair. She's now blonde. And you may ask why? Well, I think it is because she helped Captain America escape, and that she will also have a new identity. Don't know what yet, but I'm thinking it will be a very interesting name. Then we got, of course, Clint Barton / Hawkeye, and he may have been absent from the trailer and posters, but he's definitely set to appear in the movie. He's just a minor character more, and he's going to be more important in Avengers 4, because the writer says so, that who doesn't get as much as development in Avengers Infinity War will get more development in Avengers 4. I think that is exactly what's gonna happen to Hawkeye. However, it has been theorized that he will turn into his more darker identity, Ronin. And why is that? Well, because it has been confirmed that his family is going to be killed by Thanos and his minions. And for that, Hawkeye will take on a new identity to go up against Thanos. Then of course we have Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch, and some say that she may become a secondary villain in this movie. But I think that's better for another time. I'm interested to see which way she'll go. Then of course we have Vision, who is definitely dead. You see the Mind Stone inside his head and vanishes after the Mind Stone because he wants to collect all the Infinity Stones. So that stone is not sticking in there. Scarlet Witch is gonna cry a lot about it and will be very mad on Thanos and will go in rage and may also be killed. Then of course we have James Bodie Rhodes / War Machine. And I don't know which way he will go, but it's set to be not really a big way. I don't think he's gonna get that much development in this movie, but maybe he will in Avengers 4. Then of course we got Sam Wilson / Falcon. And he is definitely gonna stick around. It has been confirmed that he will stick around in the MCU for a long time. And if Captain America does not make it out of Avengers Infinity War or Avengers 4, which is said that he won't, then Sam Wilson will maybe take on the new identity of Captain America, which he did in the comics. Then we got Scott Lang / Ant-Man, who will get a more minor role in Avengers Infinity War because he has his own movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, coming up in the same year, only a few months later released. And those events are set just after Civil War, and Infinity War will pick up right after that, so he's then gonna make an appearance in Infinity War, only it will be very brief. However, he is set to have a more bigger role in Avengers 4. Then we got Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and it looks like he's gonna be a very big part of Avengers Infinity War. He's even gonna team up with Doctor Strange. As we'll see in the trailer, he is definitely getting a new suit, which looks awesome by the way, and that suit can do more than you think. Then of course we have T'Challa / Black Panther, and he is gonna be a big part of Infinity War, as we've seen that most of Infinity War will focus at Wakanda. And why is that? Well, I think it has to do with one of the Infinity Stones hiding there. And that's either the Soul Stone or the Mind Stone. Then we get Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is also a bit in trouble because he owns the Time Stone. However, he's always gonna have some rivalry with Abominable. And I'm interested to see where he will go, but we all know that he's definitely coming out of it, but he is in trouble. He definitely is. Then we got Hope from the End / Wasp, who is definitely gonna appear in the movie since she's gonna appear in Ant-Man and Wasp, and Infinity War will pick up right after the events of the movie. Also, if you're interested to see how that suit looks on her, here you got a shot, and here you got a much better shot. Then of course we got our final Avenger, Captain Marvel. And she is not appearing in Infinity War, but she definitely will appear in Avengers 4. And I'm interested to see how, because her upcoming movie, which will be released in 2019, is set in the 90s. And Avengers 4 will be set in 2019. So, how exactly is she in Avengers 4? Then we get to our next secondary category. They're the super friends of the Avengers. Starting off with, of course, Bucky Barnes / the Winter Soldier, who will now have a new identity, which was made clear in the credit scene of Black Panther. He will now be called the White Wolf. And I'm interested to see where he will go. Maybe he will die. And I actually have a big feeling that he will die. But maybe he will also take on the new identity of Captain America if Sam Wilson won't do it. Next we got Sharon Carter / Agent 13, who will join the Avengers in the fight as a sort of second Black Widow. Then we got Wong, Then we have the Black Panther's 3 favorite bodyguards: Okeya, Nakia, and Shuri. Then of course we're also gonna have appearance of Heimdall, as he survived Thor Ragnarok and may or may not survive getting attacked by the ship of Thanos. Then we got of course Thor's friend Sif, who may or may not be still alive because she was banished by Loki when he took Odin's identity. And of course, Valkyrie is set to return, and I know what's gonna happen to her, but I think that she will make out of it. Then we got of course one of the most funniest characters in the MCU right now, Quack and Meek. Then we get to our next category, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Starting off with Peter Quill / Star-Lord, and he's going to have some rivalry with Iron Man. But he's then gonna make some funny jokes. Then of course, one of Thanos' adopted daughters, and also Peter Quill's girlfriend, will also make an appearance and will go full rogue against Thanos. I'm talking of course about Gamora. Then we got Drax the Destroyer, and I'm not sure what will happen to him in this movie, but I have a feeling that he's gonna die because he's also going rogue because Thanos was responsible for killing his family. Then we're also of course gonna have the appearance of Rocket Raccoon, who will help Tony Stark with building cool stuff. And we'll of course also have the return of Groot, who was first Giant Groot, then Baby Groot, and now he will be Teenage Groot. We got another bigger, better shot of him in the credit scene of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Look at that. Teenage Groot in his teen years. As we know, when you're a teenager, you're out of control and you're gonna curse a lot. However, it seems like he will be teaming up with Rocket and Thor. But I'm interested to see what Groot's path will be in this movie. Then of course, as final Guardians of the Galaxy member, we got Nebula, and she is also going rogue against Thanos. However, I do not agree with the theory, but there is a theory that she will turn into Supergiant from the comics, who is a member of the Black Order. Then of course we got Mantis, who will have a more brief appearance in Infinity War, but maybe have a more bigger appearance in Avengers 4. Then we get into the TV series of Matt Murdock / Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Punisher, and Electra. Then of course with those appearances and the big rumor of appearances of Phil Coulson, we may also have appearances of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., including the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., including Linda May, Sky, Bobby Morse, Leo Fitch, Gemma Simmons, Lance Hunter, Mac, Jojo, and of course, a new hero, Johnny Blaze / Ghost Rider. Then we also may have appearance of the Inhumans, even though we're not gonna like it because the Inhumans was a terrible miniseries. However, the Inhumans include Black Bolt, his wife Medusa, Karnak, Gargon, Crystal, and Lockjaw. Then we may have some flashbacks with characters from from our beloved characters who previously have died. Or maybe they will appear as ghosts. Or maybe, which was made in the Big Fury, they will be brought back from the dead thanks to the Soul Stone, who may or may not appear in Infinity War. However, other characters who are deceased who may make an appearance are Odin, Frigga, the Three Warriors, Yondu, and of course Pyro, Maximoff / Quicksilver. Then there's the theory of new heroes being in the movie, since there will be a lot of new characters introduced in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers 4. I'm just gonna tell you which heroes could join the MCU. They are not from the X-Men or Fantastic Four storylines, so don't even think about the Silver Surfer being in this movie, even though he is a big part of the Infinity comics. We're also not gonna have appearances of Miles Morales or Spider-Girl, as that is just a little bit too soon. I think they're first gonna have appearances in Spider-Man Homecoming 2 and Spider-Man Homecoming 3. However, we could have an appearance, although there's a very little chance, of the character who made a cameo in Spider-Man Homecoming, Aaron Davis / the Crower. And the Crower is an anti-hero. We got Jessica Jones' best friend, Patsy Walker, who also turns into the comics into the Hellcat. Then we got Cosmo the Space Dog, who is in the comics a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And he made a cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy, so he may or may not appear in this movie. With that, we may also have appearances of Starhawk and the rest of his crew. We also have appearance of Dr. Bill Foster / the Goylet, who is gonna make appearance in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And with that, we'll also have a brief appearance in Infinity War and Avengers 4. Then we also have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. member Jimmy Woo, who will make an appearance in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and may also have an appearance in Infinity War and Avengers 4 if the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will have an appearance in the movie. Then we may have an appearance of Marvel, also known as Captain Marvel, since he's set to appear in the Captain Marvel movie, which will be released in 2019. So yes, he may appear in Avengers 4. Then we got Thunderbolt Ross, who may or may not turn into his comic book alter ego, Red Hulk. Doc Samson, although I hope he's recast, because I don't think Phil Dunphy is the best choice for such a violent comic book character. Then we got Adonis Joe, who made a cameo in The Incredible Hulk, and in the comics he turns into the Hulk. So maybe if Dr. Bruce Banner will not make it out of Infinity War or Avengers 4, Adonis Joe will take over the Hulk identity. Then of course we got Dr. Bruce Banner's previous girlfriend Betty Rose, who's set to return in this movie, and maybe then she will turn into her comic book alter ego, She-Hulk. And with so many female superheroines join the MCU, we may or may not have a Lady Burrace movie coming up, and there are 2 key members missing from the MCU of the Lady Burrace team, and those are... Now there are 3 key members missing from that team, and they are She-Hulk, Hydra, and Lycra. Then there's an unconfirmed theory that Harry Keener, who was seen in Iron Man 3, will take on the identity of the new Iron Man after Tony Stark dies. So, like it or not, we're maybe gonna have a teenager Iron Man. Then we may have appearances of Howard the Duck, or maybe he will live on to making cameos. Although it would be interesting to see a Howard Duck movie made by the MCU. Then we got one of the most likely heroes to join the MCU, and that's Nova. And then we also probably gonna have an appearance of Blade, since he is bought by the MCU for like a few years ago now, and he still has the beard in the movies, and he definitely shoots. Then we may also have an appearance of Sentry, Moon Knight, and Quasar. And they're all interesting looking superheroes. Then we get into our next category, the villains. Starting off with the Black Order, which includes, of course, the Mad Titan Thanos, who is gonna be the biggest villain in this movie, and may or may not die or turn into an anti-hero like Loki does. Then other members of the Black Order will make an appearance, which were seen in the trailer. First off, we got Corvus Glaive, who will rip the Mind Stone out of Vision's head, and is here seen in a better shot, standing right next to Loki. Then we got Promethean Midnight, who is seen in the trailer throwing a spear at Captain America. She's seen here threatening Loki, and so on. It's not looking good for Loki, but we get back on that later. Then we also got a Bonnie Ma, who is also here seen, standing right behind Loki, and was also seen in a better shot in the second Infinity War trailer. And it seems like he is gonna have some rivalry, as I've previously said, with Doctor Strange. Then we got the final member of the Black Order who will make an appearance, called Obsidian, also known as Black Dwarf, who is seen here standing in the back, and he will probably have some rivalry with the Hulk. Then we may have appearances of other Black Order members. Supergiant, as I was saying that Nebula may turn out to be Supergiant, or Supergiant will make an appearance in Avengers 4. And maybe also Black Swan will make an appearance. Then we got other anti-heroes who may or may not turn to the dark side and join Thanos. Starting off with Loki, who is definitely dead, as we'll see in the shot where the Black Order stands around him, ready to kill him. Then we got M'Baka / Manape. Then we may or may not have an appearance of Baron Mordo and Adam Warlock, since, as you can see, he lost the Infinity Gauntlet and may go up against Thanos to get it back. Then there's a big theory out there that Thanos may or may not bring all the powerful villains from previous MCU movies back to life with the Soul Stone. And so I'm gonna name all the big villains we have seen over the years, starting off with Iron Man's enemies, including the Ironmonger, Whiplash, Justin Hammer, who may not be as powerful as you think, but he is good in strategy. And he may be in prison, but I'm also counting prison people because they're very powerful too. Then we got Aldrich Killian, and we got the Mandarin, who we don't actually know yet who it is, but is out there somewhere. and maybe that will be revealed in Infinity War, or it will be revealed in Phase 4. Then we got Hulk's enemy, Abomination, who's been into prison, but now may come out of prison as he's been tested on multiple projects, alongside maybe also a character that has been absent from Marvel movies. Samuel Stearns / the leader. Then of course we also get the return of John Smith / the Red Skull, since he may not be dead and actually be trapped in the Tesseract or be transported somewhere into space. Then we got another villain who's good in strategy, Alexander Pierce. Another strategy guy, Zemo. Then we got a very powerful villain, Kin Laufey. We got one of the most forgettable villains in the MCU, Maggot, and his forgettable sidekick whose name I already forgot, and I'm not gonna even look up, but I think it is Skrull. And we may also have the return of Hulk / Thor's enemy. And then of course we also have the reappearance of the Goddess of Death, Hela, who is definitely one of the most powerful villains in the MCU, and so on, will also be one of the most powerful villains in Infinity War if Thanos will bring her back from the dead. Then we also got Ant-Man's enemy, Yellow Jacket. We got Eric Killmonger, Lucius Claw, Ronan, the Accuser, and Ego, who are both one of the most powerful villains and may or may not have some problems with Thanos, but in the end will be under control by Thanos and work together to defeat the Avengers. And of course we got one of the most greatest villains in the MCU, Ultron. Then we get into our last category, the non-super characters, starting off with our main characters, including Nick Fury, Maria Hill, Phil Coulson, the Collector, who is definitely gonna be in trouble when Thanos finds him and takes the Reality Stone, Dr. Eric Selvig. Then we got also Yvette Rose, since he's still around somewhere and is now a big part of the MCU as one of the most likable secondary characters. Then we also have the return of Helen Jo, who turns out to still be alive after it looked like she was killed by Ultron.
Then we got the Defenders non-super friends, who will definitely make appearances if the Defenders will make appearances. They include
Fucky Nelson, Karen Page,
Malcolm DeCussey,
then we have Cottonmouth,
Claire Temple,
Clayne Wynn,
and brother and sister Ward and Joe. Then we got Iron Man characters including Pepper Potts and Happy Hawken. Then we got Thor characters including Jane Foster, who may have broken up with Thor but may return because Pepper broke up too and returned. Then we got, of course, her wacky sidekick / best friend Darcy and her boyfriend Ian to return. Then we got Hulk characters, and that is Hulk, that's Banner's best friend, whose name is pretty forgettable, but I'm gonna look it up Just give me a second. It's somewhere big. It's somewhere hidden in my head. Stanley. Then we got Ant-Man characters, including Hank Pym, the original Wasp, Scott's friends, Scott's previous wife Maggie, his rival Jim, and his daughter Casey. Then we get our Spider-Man characters, including Aunt May, Michelle, and Ned. Then we got Doctor Strange characters, Christine. Then we got some Guardians of the Galaxy characters who are all very forgettable, but are probably all dead, including the people who hide the Power Stone. And we got Quackling. Then we got Hawkeye's family, who is definitely gonna appear as they're dead by the end of this movie. His wife Laura, his children Leela and Cooper, and his youngest son Natural. Then we have cameos of course, iconic actor Peter Dinklage, and of course the maker of Marvel, Stan Lee. And with that, we got a count of 160 characters who may or may not appear in this movie. These two upcoming movies are going to be awesome, and they're gonna be full of great characters. And just watch out for my Dead Predictions video about these two movies, which will be released like one day after this video is released. Leave a comment, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.